So the flow state, I want to take this much wider than it's been studied in the past. Psychology had really pinpointed the idea that flow is where the degree of challenge meets the degree of skill. So this was the traditional definition of flow state as taught by the European psychologist Mihaly. And he wrote the book Flow and many other, he's kind of the grandfather of this understanding. But we can take that even wider. There's been neuroscience studying the consciousness of flow for now a couple decades. I don't think it's like thousands of years they're studying it, not nearly as long as the yogis have. The yogi study was more practical study. It was like real physical experiences and connecting to the universal consciousness through the energy of flow, and then talking about that in the form of yoga teaching. But to this day, we've broken it down even more micro in the form of science, research. Neuroscience shows us that when you meditate or do certain breathwork practices, your mind actually starts to rewire neural synapses, and you can access new dimensions of your own intelligence. And even beyond that, there are, people say that we use less than 10% of our brain capacity. And so what we've found is that through the medical research at Harvard and Stanford and different universities that I've worked with, that they show that as you meditate, do certain breathwork practices, yoga practices, focusing your mind on single-pointed awareness, we are able to awaken gray matter in the brain. So if you imagine your whole brain is just like 90% gray matter, which means it's not awake, and then you have like this 5 to 10% that's alive and awake, and most people are operating on this 5 to 10% of their capacity maximum. So what we're now able to understand is that with these practices, you can awaken more of your brain. So that means you can access a higher level of intelligence for everything. I was having a conversation with Sadhguru recently, and it was so powerful. He said, people make a mistake. People say God is love, people say God is compassion, but they never said God is intelligence. And this is the biggest mistake. And that's what he said, and I sat with that, and I thought, this is profound. God is intelligence. God is access to infinite intelligence. So if you are looking for answers, instead of Googling or looking in a book or asking a friend, go direct to the source. And this is what I'm talking about when we talk about flow state. So when you're in flow state, you're accessing the infinite intelligence of the source. It's an eternal knowledge. It's also sometimes called the Akashic Records. So in the spiritual community, we call this the Akashic Records. It's the book of life. Everything from past, future, and now is accessible to us through this dimension if we tap into it. This is something that we can all learn to do. It's not just for a select few yogis sitting in a cave for 7 years. This is something that's available to us. And it's really exciting because now, as neuroscience has backed it up, we have Harvard and Stanford, Yale research, people all over the world doing actual scientific studies, and then we have the psychological studies, qualitative studies of thousands of people that have shown that people that are living in flow have much better health, greater passion for life, positive mood and energy, higher creativity, productivity, and overall well-being in life. So this is something that can truly transform the entire world. The more people that can access flow state, even just for a moment, this is a good start. My intention for the book that I'm writing that will be coming out in 2021, The Flow State, is to provide real practical guidance so that anybody can access flow state. And what I feel the ultimate experience is to be actually living in flow. I heard a recent interview with Oprah, and she was talking about her team and anybody that's close to her. The first thing she asks them is, are you in flow or are you out of flow? This is like the foundation of where's our conversation probably gonna go. Usually people who are out of flow are starting right out with, things are not working for me, I'm sad, I have problems, whatever the thing is, right? So it's like, you know which direction the conversation's probably going to start going if the person says, yeah, I'm not in flow right now. On the other side of that coin, we have if let's say they said, I'm in flow, usually the conversation will be like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell you all the amazing things that are happening. Let me start with one. And just go into the blessings and the abundance and the miracles that are flowing, because that's the dimension that is available to everybody when we are accessing flow state. So to take flow beyond the idea that it's one single pointed moment or that it's something that psychology pinpointed as an activity, and to expand it, that is my mission through this work that I'm doing. To expand it to an awareness level that people could understand that it's not just a single pointed activity, but it's a possibility to live in that realm indefinitely. And that is my intention for my life, and I would share that intention with you and hope that you could join me on this adventure.
Click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, say hello. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Namaste.